What's up, YouTube? I'm just going to move my screen a little bit. Appreciate y'all for being here. Maybe a little bit more. Sorry, there we go. All right. I want to talk about today the top meatpacking plant, or rather one of them. I guess CNN is saying it's one of the biggest food companies in the world. Yahoo News is saying it controls 1/5 of the meat or beef capacity, rather, in the United States. And it's been cyber attacked, and they're shutting down their plants or their production of some sort. I'm going to read the whole article, get into specifics, but it's one of the biggest food companies in the world. It's one of our biggest beef and meat companies in the United States, and Australia is greatly affected. North America is greatly affected. We're going to chat about it. We're going to chat about something that happened a year ago called I think it was called the Digital or Cyber Polygon by the World Economic Forum. And these people seem to have really good insight. It's not a theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just like they say something, they plan for something to happen, and it happens. I'm not saying they're doing it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I like to listen to these people because they're really smart billionaires and world leaders. And every time they plan for this big crisis to happen and, have a strategy for it, it happens. So I just have to say props to Klaus Schwab and these other people, because they really seem to have a foresight on what's going on. So I'm a smart guy. I listen to him. I read their books, and we're going to listen to him kind of predict this a couple months ago. So that's what it is. And also the second thing I want to talk about, thank you guys so much for being here, is called Pavlov's dog. It's an old experiment. It's one of the classical conditioning experiments where some sort of psychologist basically would give a dog food and it would show up, give a dog food, ring a bell, give a dog food, ring a bell. And they basically, I think this was one of the revolutionary psychology experiments. They figured out that even when you took away the food, that the dog would actually still salivate as if the food was there. You programmed it to think that bell means food, even if there is no food. So we're going to talk about how they're kind of doing that to human beings in politics on the left and the right, because I'm starting to notice the programming where it's like you take away the substance from certain politicians and certain characters and certain news organizations, and people still drool as if they're getting substance. So thank you guys for being here. Those are the two stories of the day. And I want to say two things. First off, thank you guys so much for the love on my music video earlier today. I produced and edited it myself. It was not easy because my thumb is actually fractured, and I'm lefty. This is my left hand. So I edited and directed the whole video by myself with a broken thumb. And, I worked really hard on that music video, despite really not being able to use my dominant hand. So thank you guys for the love on that. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for sharing and showing love. And for those who are just coming in, the whole song is called Way Too Jacked for the Gulag. If you watched my live stream earlier this year when Joe Biden was winning, I told people it was kind of a joke. It started as a Facebook and YouTube joke. I just kept saying, everyone's like, oh my God, Trump's not going to be in the White House. We're doomed. America's doomed. We're done. We're done. And you know me, I don't like to have a negative attitude. So I was like, no, I'm going to get way too jacked for the gulag. So it started as a joke, me saying, I'm going to get too strong. I got to be so big that I can't even fit in the gulag, as a joke to motivate myself into working out. And then I just wrote a song to kind of hype myself up. And a lot of people told me that song amps them up. It gets them working out and stuff. So it started as a joke on a live stream, turned into a song. And now it's kind of an anthem for people that want to work out and get too jacked for all this nonsense that's going on. So we still try to be positive in times of darkness. And I definitely am trying to be positive. I mean, there's always people that have it worse, but it's so annoying, especially at the start of summer, to not be able to use my dominant hand. I can't grab anything. I'm dropping my food every time I eat. It's very frustrating. So I need the positivity too. So thank you guys so much for the love. That's what it is. And just letting y'all know before I start too, these hats, obviously on godblesshatsanddreamrare.com, I have stickers coming soon, and I'm going to give people who purchase two things, not yet, so don't expect it, but we're getting cool stickers. I'm going to get t-shirts. Everyone's like, you don't have any t-shirts. We only have the tank tops and such. I'm going to get this. The God is great. I know you can't see it on Facebook, but this is coming back in a t-shirt. This was a t-shirt. I just cut off the sleeves because I like to work out and sleeves annoy me. So that's what it is. Thank you guys so much. And check out the song Way Too Jacked for the Gulag if you're into rap music. If you're not, it's fine. I don't need these comments. People are like, Anomaly, I don't like rap music. It's fine. It's okay. I don't like, that's not true. I like a lot of music, but people are like, you should stop doing this because I don't want you to. It's like, I'll consider it, but I'll do what I want. First story of the day. Hold on. I'm a little crippled. This is, I'm sorry, Facebook, it's inverted. I got to figure out how to change it, but you can see it on YouTube. It's Yahoo News. It says all of JBS's UF beef plants were forced shut down by cyber attack, and under it says 1/5 of US beef capacity wiped out by a JBS cyber attack. So I mean, 1/5 of the United States beef has been wiped out. One of our biggest meatpacking plants, I believe I read that it was Australia's biggest meatpacking plant. CNN calls it one of the biggest food, processors or food producers in the world. Let's read this article. I'm just going to read it aloud. Yahoo, it says, a cyber attack on JBS, the largest meat producer globally, they're calling it the largest, forced a shutdown of all its U.S. beef plants, wiping out output from facilities that supply almost a quarter of American suppliers. I could get into all this. CNN's trying to blame Russia. Of course, they blame them for everything with no proof. I don't care about Russia. I'm an American. I'm just saying they're just always like, Trump's working with Russia. It's like they don't want to get to the bottom of anything, but whatever. I don't have to read that much of the article. So I think you can figure out it's kind of a big deal, not just for meat eaters, but you have to understand the reason America's a prosperous nation is because our currency is worth something and we have food. And if we don't have food, it could be a big problem, and nobody's even talking about it. It's like we've been so brainwashed by politics, by I love Trump, I hate Trump, I love Biden, I hate Biden, I hate AOC, I love MTG, I want Trump to come back, the election, blah, blah. Like, I'm not knocking. Everybody's got their own preferences, who they like and who they don't. But I feel like people have been so brainwashed by both sides that stories like this or bipartisan corruption just doesn't even make a splash anymore, where it's like, I feel like we're going to have to suffer, unfortunately, at some point in order for people to wake up. Because it's like, if our currency is not worth anything, I mean, at a certain point, it doesn't matter if Trump would have even won. And vice versa with this cyber attack. I mean, it's obviously alarming. It's obviously concerning. You can't get that upset about it because what can I do? I can't do anything about it. What can you do? They say, a wise person once said, if you can't do anything about it, you shouldn't worry about it. You do what you can, and then you just got to leave it alone. So, I don't have a magic wand to turn on the meatpacking plant, but I do have to say, as a citizen with the First Amendment speech, I find it very bizarre that everything that certain people want to happen always just happens spontaneously through a hack or a shutdown or a pandemic. And I have to say this real quick because, just to be honest, I made a video last March, in March 2020. I was talking about man-made viruses, how they're real, and speculating on whether this one came from a lab. I did real reporting. It still stands up to this day. I don't need to retract a single thing that I said in that video. Because I didn't lie. I just speculated and said, I don't know the truth, but I'll show you all the evidence I have and you can decide for yourself. Facebook deleted that video. It had 10 million views. Now Facebook's all of a sudden, now they're allowing the lab leak theory because it's probably what happened and they didn't want you to talk about it. So it's not just about me or my theories or my reporting because it's pretty decent. It's about the First Amendment right, because if you don't have the right to question something, if you don't have the right to question the cyber attack, if you don't have the right to question Trump or Biden on their vaccination rollout, if you don't have the right to question the World Health Organization, especially them, because they're not even an American government, if you don't have the right to question the CDC, if you don't have a right to question what's going on, that's like a bad signal to wicked people, enemies, domestic and foreign, to say, it's open season on America because they're not even allowed to question us. If you go to China, they're allowed to question the United States. They're allowed to question whoever they want, not China, but, I think they're allowed to question foreign nations. If you go to, Israel or Saudi Arabia, they're allowed to question America. How come America is not allowed to question foreign nations like China or, cyber hacks or what? I mean, I don't even know where this came from. I'm not claiming to, but CNN's blaming Russia. They have the right to do that. I don't know that I believe them at this point, but if they think that, just show me why. I should be able to say, well, I think the cyber attack came from domestic, or if I have proof. But the point I'm saying is, if you can't question if something's happening, it's bigger than my opinion or CNN's opinion. They're saying you're not allowed to say stuff, even if it's probably true. So people who are doing it just have open season to do it because they're not allowed to be questioned, whether it's a foreign nation, a foreign government, a foreign entity like the World Health Organization, or a domestic group like the CDC. I mean, we have to really think about how to preserve our First Amendment and make it an issue. I know there's only so much you could do, but before I get into it, that's above anything that I say today. On that note, I just find it very bizarre, like a lot of people, there's been already a big push in the media for, we got to get rid of meat. Meat's bad for the climate. Meat's bad for this, meat's bad for the environment. Meat's bad for this. So there's already been a bigger push in the last 2 years, I'd say, to completely wipe out meat. People like Bill Gates are involved in all sort of synthetic meat companies. I can't remember if it's Beyond Meat or Impossible Burger. I don't remember which one he's invested in. You got to look it up. I mean, I guess let me look it up real quick because I like to be accurate. I don't like to lie. Bill Gates, I think is it Impossible Burger? Let me see. Bill Gates on plant-based burgers, let's see. Bill Gates backs a veggie burger. I guess, yeah, he's on the Impossible Burger. So I guess he's backing that with his money or some sort. But anyway, it's like you see this push for people like, they're like, it's time to start eating bugs. In the media, they're like, you need to start eating cicadas, stop eating so much meat. And I'm not saying they did it. I'm not saying they're involved in it. I'm not going to point the finger. But I just find it very shocking that these people want something and all of a sudden there's a spontaneous event that gets everything that they want. The pandemic, whether you agree with the lockdowns or not, whether you're liberal or conservative, whether you're a Bernie supporter or you love Trump and have a flag at your house, billionaires thrived during the pandemic. That's just the facts. The billionaires made a killing. The tech companies gained more power than ever. Politicians from Gavin Newsom to Phil Murphy to even Republicans and Governor Abbott, they gained more power than ever before. And who suffered? Restaurants, small businesses, I would say the lower class and middle class who doesn't have access to facilities. And, I've been in a position where I didn't even have somewhere to go. They're like, oh, just work out outside. Like, have you ever lived in the middle of a city? Not everyone has a yard. Most people that are broke can't afford that type of stuff. So it's like, who really gained out of the pandemic? The billionaires and the tech companies. Who lost out? Average people in restaurants. And who was funding and promoting and pushing the lockdowns? Billionaires, tech companies. They were the ones who told you couldn't disagree with it. So if anybody's this naive, I think it's time to reconsider. I'm going to read a quote from Zuby real quick on Twitter. He's a very intelligent guy from, I believe, the UK. Zuby, we have a song coming together too. He's a rapper as well. But he says this. He says, this is Zuby Music on Twitter. It amazes me when full-grown adults are shocked by that government officials could possibly seek more power and control over citizens. I find myself constantly having to explain this notion. One would assume it's self-evident after a millennia of human history, ancient and modern. And I've said this a few times in different words, but it's like, what part of human history from, biblical times to after to before to 1800s to 9, what part of human history says that politicians in the world don't want power? What part of World War II, whether it's Stalin or Hitler or Mao Zedong, or like what part of that story didn't just scream people fighting each other over power and taking over countries? Like, that's the whole thing. That's what it's all. That's what human history has always been about forever. And now they brainwash you with CNN, and now people think that that's a crazy conspiracy theory. Like, oh my God, you think that politicians could want more power? Why else would you get in politics? What do you think they want? A gummy bear? Yeah, of course they probably want power. Like, people are like, Anomaly, you could run for office. I probably could, and I probably could win, but I don't want to be there because I have a soul, and I don't want to be in politics. I don't want to be around these people. I don't want to be harassed by media psychopaths all the time. People that go into politics, not everybody, there's some good politicians, but it's like, what else do you want? You want power, either power to do good or more power to do, wicked things. I mean, I'm not going to blame people, but no part of human history says that powerful people wouldn't try to gain power. So the pandemic was a power grab. Now I have to read stupid smear articles. NPR says Anomaly says it was a power grab. He has this crazy conspiracy theory that the government used the pandemic for power. It's not a theory, it's a fact. You could argue that it made sense that they did that, but that's what they did. You could say it made sense. I could say it didn't make sense, but that's not even a debatable topic, really. It's like they did use it for power. I don't even think like a law professor at Harvard could disagree. There's left-wing articles being like, yeah, they use this for power. It's like, duh. So the point I'm getting to with this meatpacking plant, who does this benefit? The same people who are involved in the lockdowns, the same people who already want us to get off of meat. And also, if you look economically, historically, whatever you want to say, in order to control a country, you control the currency, you control the food, you control the military, you control the media. I'm probably missing something, but it's like, if you control the media, you control the minds of the masses. If you control the military, you control the weapons and the soldiers. If you control the currency, you control the money, so you can pretty much take over everything else. And if you control the food, people can starve to death. I mean, whether it's communism, fascism, whatever, it's like, I'm not blaming certain leaders, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, that's a part of it. If you don't have food, things are not smooth. So the fact that one of our biggest meatpacking plants is closing down and no one's talking about it, and if I try to speculate on it, they'd say it's some sort of theory, whatever. They've already written stupid articles about me. So I'm just going to play this clip. I'm not saying these people are planning it. I'm just saying they have really good foresight. And every time they say something, something happens. Before I play this clip of Klaus Schwab that I shared back in January, I played a clip a year ago of Bill Gates, or at least, I'm sorry, he's not there. It's Event 201. It's World Economic Forum, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I think Johns Hopkins University from 2019. They ran through this scenario. Well, if a coronavirus pandemic hits the world, here's what we do. Here's how we shut down travel. Here's how the economy would be hit. It was like a blueprint of, if we have a pandemic, this is what we're going to do. And most of what was in that video before the pandemic hit is what they do. It's not a coincidence. It's not a conspiracy theory. These people have an idea of what they would do in case of it, and then they roll it all out. So I think, I start listening to these people because every time they predict something or have a plan for something, it usually happens. And they're not just scammering around like they don't know what to do. They know what to do because they already have a plan for it. And it's not like I'm reading these books like I have to go Indiana Jones style. They're like, anomaly, where do you get your info from? Conspiracy theory websites? No, guys, they do conferences every year and they tell you exactly what they're thinking and they tell you exactly what their plan is. And then it happens 4 years later and I'm like supposed to not know it happened. So here's Klaus Schwab talking about it. I'm not saying they're hacking people. I'm just saying they know that there's going to be major hacks that are going to ruin society, and they absolutely have a plan of what they're going to do during it. So this is a video I did almost half a year ago, telling people about one of the most powerful people in the world that most people don't even know about, really explaining that one of the biggest things that's going to, hit the world is going to be a cyber attack. And once again, within the last 24 hours, you have one of the biggest meatpacking plants in the world, perhaps the biggest, got hacked and they're shutting down meat production. I mean, it's pretty alarming stuff, but I don't want to fearmonger people. I'm just saying it's worth noting. I guess maybe I'll order some meat online today or something. I don't know. Maybe I should get a bunch of meat and put it in the freezer. I don't know. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just saying, I don't know what happens when you shut down the biggest meatpacking plant. Don't be scared, be prepared. I'm just like, maybe I need a freezer full of meat. Maybe I don't. I don't know. But you figure out what you want to do. But here's Klaus Schwab talking about it.
When Klaus Schwab talks, I listen. He's the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum and one of the world's most powerful leaders that most people know nothing about. In 2020, he spoke at a cyber polygon conference about trying to be prepared for a huge hack or blackout that affects the entire globe.
All right, so I'm gonna play this clip real quick, but this is Klaus Schwab, the leader of the founder of the World Economic Forum. He's talking, I didn't have to dive that deep for this. He has a whole website for the cyber or digital polygon conference, and he pretty much just broadcasted this on the line. So I just took a clip from his video and I just played it. This is not a theory. I'm just playing this guy talking. I have to wake up tomorrow to a stupid smear article. They're like, anomaly, the kooky conspiracy. It's like, you mean the guy who was actually right about the origins of the virus in March and April when you deleted and covered up my video and you lied and smeared me, and now you're talking about it a year later? That's not called a conspiracy theory. That's called accurate video journalism, while you guys are like a cover-up agency just trying to cover up the story. But, whatever you got to do, you got to do. I'll do me, you do you. God bless you. Here you go.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
So this is Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, who masterfully, with his World Economic Forum and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they masterfully, predicted a coronavirus pandemic a few years ago and had a nice plan for it because, they have really good insight. They're smart people. So he's saying, a cyber attack's going to hit, and it's probably going to be, it's going to make the pandemic look like nothing. You thought the pandemic was bad. That's why you see some of these people, not him, but I've watched an interview with Bill Gates, and I'm just paraphrasing, but they're like, okay, so when we go back to normal, we go back to normal. And a lot of these Fauci and Gates types, like, they're like, they're like laughing. They're like, normal? Oh yeah, we're going back to normal. All right. Like people are like, yeah, when we go back to like, they're like, yeah, we're not going back to how we were. Like Klaus Schwab. I mean, people are going to act like, let me see if I have it here real quick, just for reference. I don't know where it is, but I have his book. People act like I'm some dummy just making stuff up. Like I'm reading Klaus Schwab's book. I know what he thinks because I listened to his videos and I read his book. I mean, I see what he's planning. What he's planning was not what Trump claimed to plan, or what he said in 2000s. So not everyone has to agree with this guy, but I'm gonna run it back a little bit and play the rest. He's saying, a cyber attack on all of society, is likely to happen, and it's going to make the pandemic look like nothing. And, I'm not going to say anything, but when they did the pandemic, you have to understand now they have logistics for everything. Like if we shut down, they pretty much did not a dry run, I would say a wet run, if that's a such thing. They shut down society. The politicians, the media, the health organizations, the World Health Organization, the UN, and all these countries who listen to them, they shut down society. So now they have, here's what would happen. Here's what we do. We're sitting ducks at this point because they already did it. So now they're telling you like, yo, you thought that was bad. Just wait till the cyber attack. And, that's going to make the pandemic look like nothing. And, when they have a plan for this, I'm not saying they're causing it. I'm just saying they have a plan. So if a cyber attack happens, what's going to stop them from overreacting? I think the World Health Organization overreacted to COVID. It's a 3.4 death rate. We have to shut. It was never a 3.4 death rate. They lied. They made a bad prediction and a bad analysis that scared everybody into locking down. And in hindsight, it was never that bad. And I'm not a hindsight person. Before I play the clip again, I knew it was wrong in March. You could find videos of me before the lockdown. I did basic math, and I'm like, here's how I know the World Health Organization's wrong, because they're acting like tests are everywhere. If no one's being tested and only the most sick people are being tested, the death rate's going to be inflated. Now they have millions of verified. Oh, this guy's asymptomatic. Yeah, that's going to drive the death rate down. The more tests you have, the more people have it. The cases are going to go up, but the death rate's going to go down. I said that early March, and that's exactly what happened. Why do I know what happened before the World Health Organization? Because I don't have an agenda. I'm just doing math and science. They have these plans pre-made. They air them on YouTube, and then they censor you and ban you for bringing them up again. I brought up a video. I'm sorry for ranting, but that's kind of just what I do. I brought up a video of Dr. Fauci talking about masks in March, and Facebook censored me for it. They're like, how dare you? You have to listen to Dr. Fauci. You have to listen to this Dr. Fauci, not that. How am I supposed to listen to Dr. Fauci? He talks out both sides of his mouth. I could make a whole compilation album of different times he said different sides of the thing. Wear it, don't wear it, do this, do that, go left, go right. He said everything. So I'm not allowed to play a clip of him because he decided that he disagrees with what he said a month late. It's such a joke. But here's Klaus Schwab again. We're going to listen, then we're going to move on before I get too worked up.
Which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. We have to ask ourselves in such a situation, how could we let this happen? Despite the fact we had all the information about the possibility and the seriousness of a risk attack. Cybercrime and global cooperation should be at the forefront of the global agenda. The grim reality is that cybercrime today is definitively a growth industry. It has significant financial costs to the global economy, but it has also important indirect costs. It can undermine the public confidence in digital transformation and therefore into the overall trustfulness of a society. There is no doubt that building digital trust and a secure internet for the global economy is one of the major challenges that no nation or company can solve alone. It requires a global response with strong private-public cooperation. In recognizing this need, the World Economic Forum launched in 2018 the Center for Cybersecurity to offer a global convening platform for governments, large corporations, and civil society to address the systemic cybersecurity challenges and find joint solutions.
All right. So, sorry, I let that go on. But, you know, on one hand, I agree with them. Like, cybersecurity is a big issue, and hacks are real. I mean, I think Equifax got hacked a few years ago. You know, there's a pro and con to everything. No civilization lasts forever. Ancient Rome is now, you know, not ancient Rome anymore. So, you know, every civilization, whether it's military or whatever, there's always a downfall. There's always an end date. There's always a change of power. And with the internet, it's no exception. I mean, we act like it's so secure and it's so stable, but it's really not. You know, I mean, I'm grateful for the internet. It's changed my life and it's been very convenient. But on the other hand, I mean, he's not alone in thinking like, yeah, I don't know, at a certain point, like if, say your whole bank is online and something happens to that, like you don't have fiat money, you don't have gold-backed currency, you have a paper thing that's not even paper anymore. It's just a digital number on a computer screen. Like that's what money is now. The Federal Reserve is not gold-backed. It's not even really paper-backed. I mean, they probably have enough bills if they need them, but it's all just numbers on a computer screen. I mean, balancing the books could be as simple as adding, subtract. I don't know, you know. Maybe we won't hit inflation because they'll just hit a bunch of numbers and they'll figure it out. But in general, it's like, yeah, no, he's not wrong with the cyber hacks. That's going to be a thing. What's weird though is like the World Health Organization and these people, they're just like, we'll help you. Oh, don't worry, it's going to come. Come join us. We have a conference for you. And I would love to trust them. I would love to think like, man, this guy's really going to crush it. Maybe he's a nice guy, but you know, I'm not a big fan of like the World Health Organization, the UN. You know, they take over and it becomes like a global system. And you know, I think what made America great for a long time was the, you know, separation of power. Texas was not like California. You know, the rules in South Carolina are not like Kansas. So, you know, the separation of power is what made America free. The freedom, the Constitution. You could read books. I have this. I'm not done with it, but I've read a little bit. This is called The Law by Frederick Bastiat. This is recommended by G. Edward Griffin, who I did an interview with. He said to pick it up, so I did. I mean, he was talking about in this book, The Law, Frederick Bastiat, how America was one of the best nations ever because as Europe was becoming more socialist and more taken over by, you know, government, America stayed free for a long, long time. So I think, you know, on one hand, it's good to work with the world. On another hand, if we become a global unit, it's just going to turn into global communism, a one world government. And this is not, you know, here's a book that a lot of people hear, like, this is not an Alex Jones conspiracy, like one world government. It didn't start with Alex Jones. It didn't start with Robert Anton Wilson. It didn't start with Bill Cooper. It didn't start with David Icke. It started with the Bible. I'm sorry for being upside down. That's a little inverted, but you know, the one world government theory is in the Revelation. You know, that's like scripture. So it's not like this, oh my God, these people think that there's going to be a one world government. It's like it's been written for thousands of years. Alex Jones didn't make it up. He just expounded on it and did some research. But in general, you know, I'm not a fan of the Klaus Schwabs because I don't think they're willing to let things play out as much as people think. I think they have these plans, like you know, the lockdowns, this and that, like these are not random and spontaneous, in my opinion. This is something that they've really thought about, how to react, how to respond. They talk about it. They make videos about it. And then as soon as a cyber hack comes, they swoop in and, you know, hey, we don't worry. We've been doing conferences for years. We have a plan to save you from this. And I just don't think it's, I don't know. The timing of the hacks just seems very, very suspicious to me. But you know, overall, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm not going to harp on it too much. Stay safe, stay blessed. Don't get scared or paranoid. You know, just take it with a grain of salt, do what you can, and then leave it alone. But overall, I think people need to be able to speculate on it accurately, because if you're not allowed to speculate, America's like open season right now. You can't say that the virus came from China. You can't say that it was a lab leak. You're not allowed to say this. You're not allowed to question this country. It's like, So why would these countries leave us alone? If I was Russia, if I was China, if I was Israel, I mean, I'd be having a field day with America, which they are, because it's like, we're a joke of a nation. Our media hates us. Our social media companies work against us. They censor us in our own country. They successfully unlodged the Constitution by sucking up all communication, then shutting the country down and not allowing you to communicate in real life, and then filtering what you could say. That's what happened last year. Outside of this, that, left, right, virus, not, I'm just talking, no matter what your belief is, that's what happened. They took away concerts, they took away bars, they took away gyms, they took away events, they took away conferences, they took away arenas, they took away every sort of thing, public speeches that you could talk in person, and they made everybody sit at home, and all people really had was Facebook, YouTube, Google, and Instagram, owned by Facebook, YouTube owned by Google. There's 3 companies that almost control all the flow of information, and you could put in Apple and Samsung or whatever, a couple more, if you want to consider cell phones, and everyone sat on their phones and they were only allowed to talk on these social platforms. And then these social platforms said, you can't say this. That successfully destroyed the Constitution and the First Amendment, your right to protest. Facebook was banning people for protesting the lockdown. Imagine that. You have to sit in your house as your business goes out of business and you're not even allowed to protest it in the United States of America. Guys, this is as communist, as authoritarian as you could possibly get. Call it what you want. We got bamboozled, and hopefully people come to their senses. The second story goes hand in hand. I want to talk about Pavlov's dog experiment. It's I think it's one of the most famous, if not the most famous. I mean, it's got to be pretty famous if I know about it, because I wasn't that great at school, to be quite honest. But, it's a conditioning psychological experiment where they had a dog and they figured out, okay, the server would come, give the dog food, ring a bell. The server would give the dog food, ring a bell. The server would give the dog food, ring a bell. Condition the dog to think, well, when I see the server, I'm going to salivate. When he rings the bell, I'm going to salivate. So eventually they took the food away and the dog was still salivating. So it had a psychological response as if the food was still there, even when the food wasn't there. It's called conditioning or programming, or if you want to relate it to humans, I mean, it could be brainwashing. So a lot of what they do with the media is programming, and it's good and bad. I mean, you watch things you enjoy watching. Why do you enjoy watching them? They're funny. Why are they funny? Sometimes they add a laugh track to them. It's funnier when someone's laughing in the background. This is like programming you. Well, they're laughing, now you laugh. It happens even in things you love and enjoy. And then it could also be used against you. And, sad Sarah McLachlan music and cats crying. You're like, yeah, I'm going to donate money because I feel really sad. If they used my song, like, way too Jack for the gulag, and like there's cats, you'd watch the video and be like, this is weird. But also I don't feel inspired to like save these cats, but Sarah McLachlan, In the Arms of an Angel, or whoever sings that song, I'm tearing my eyes out. I don't even care about cats that much. And I'm like, how do I get my money to these damn cats? It probably doesn't even go to them. They probably get 1%. It's like 99% like bureaucratic, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. It's conditioning, brainwashing, and it all goes back to Pavlov's dog. I'm seeing that in politics, not just on the left wing, but on the right wing, where they give people something, like they give the dog the food, they ring the bell, give the dog the food, ring the bell, and then they take away the substance, and people are going crazy over these people. For instance, I think at a certain point, liberalism meant something. They were onto something with the legalization of marijuana. I'm not advocating for drugs on my platform, even marijuana. I'm just saying it's like if beer, smoke has bad causes. It can have bad causes on your brain, your throat. But I mean, if beer can be legal, I don't know. I think there's an argument to be had for that. So I'm just saying at a certain point, it seemed like liberals were onto something. We need to, stop fighting these endless regime change wars. We need social equity or whatever. And then eventually they just took away the substance and they're like, Russian collusion, Trump is a orange man bad. And like, they're just still drooling over I was not super liberal, but I was like left leaning. I was never this crazy. I don't know. Like at a certain point, I liked Obama kind of, but I never like loved him, I guess. I just was like, maybe he'll be better than George Bush. Maybe he won't be, but I'm like 21. I don't care that much. But like watching the left, I'm like, these people have lost their mind. They're being programmed. It's like bing, you just ring a bell and they're just like all over the place. I'm like, there's no substance to anything that they're saying anymore. And I think that's what woke up millions of people to like Trump and be conservative, was like, all the substance from the left wing, like the healthy eating, the yoga, all this stuff kind of like shifted right, and the left went psycho. Like the left used to be filled with like yoga moms who like love holistic medicine. And now it's like they got Pfizer and Moderna tattoos just to own the right wing. So most yoga teachers and health fitness people, it's like a right-wing conspiracy to work out. Like all these fitness instructors follow me now because it's like they like what I'm saying, because they're like, I don't know if I'm right-wing, but I think it's good to work out. They're like, where'd you hear that, Russia? But to get to the right wing, I really think Trump like conditioned people like Pavlov's dog. And I'm not trying to be rude. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but for the first 3 years, Trump is executing, so it's the same as like, okay, he's giving you food and substance, he's giving you exactly what you want, and he's crushing. So, 3 years of just like winning, we're eating. We're like, man, this looks like it's going to end good. I mean, it was building up to be something special. And it felt like, although nothing super big happened and super great happened, it felt like we were building to this really happy ending. I mean, people are speculating. You got the Q people. They're like, you don't even know. All the pedophiles are going to get arrested on Christmas. It's going to be the best Christmas ever, 2019. And you're like, I don't think so. But I'm not going to rule it out. Maybe there's something cooking with Jeffrey Epstein or something. I don't know. And then like January, February, March hits. And then, Trump is kind of used to usher in communism and the shutdown agenda, where I don't think Obama or Clinton or even George Bush, I don't think Mitt Romney, I don't think anybody else could have pacified the right wing as much as Donald Trump did, because we all ate for so long. He gave us the plate, he rang the bell, and we're eating. So we're willing to give him 15, 16, 17, 20 days. Some people weren't, but some people were like, I'll give Trump 15 days. And then this is when I noticed a change, was like Trump changed his tune very quickly. Like he went from, we need to open up the country, this is nonsense, to I think we're going to shut down. And then he just started flip-flopping for 2 months, saying hydroxychloroquine. And then under the next breath, he's Operation Warp Speed. And then under the next breath, he's saying, let's open up. And then under the next breath, he's saying, actually, let's close down. We shouldn't open. Sweden shouldn't open. Georgia shouldn't open. And then at a certain point, maybe it was like a few months before his election, he just stopped saying anything cool, and he turned into a vaccine salesman. Every tweet was like Moderna, Pfizer, election, Moderna, Pfizer, election. And I'm like, damn, something changed. And I'm just reporting on it. And people are freaking out at me for saying it. And it reminds me of the Pavlov dog, where it's like Trump fed people for so long. As soon as the substance was gone and our country was suffering because of, not only decisions he was making, but lack of enthusiasm and lack of protest and lack of standing up for themselves from the conservatives, because they're just following this idol of theirs instead of like processing what's going on and making independent decisions as a group. It was like the food got taken away, but people are still salivating over Trump. And then after the election, there's 3 months and everybody thinks it's going to lead to this grand, huge event. You have Lynn Wood, General Flynn, Mike Lindell, a lot of high figure people promising people the world. I'm 100% sure they're saying, I'm 100%. I don't know if you guys do betting or poker, but 100% means 100%. If you're into betting odds and stuff, it 100% means the game's over. Like it's won, the hand's over in Texas Hold'em. Anybody serious that actually wants, no offense, but wants to be trusted and wants to be respected, at least you're not going to say I'm 100% sure when you're not 100% sure. So Mike Lindell, General, people are getting all riled up and with this promise that Trump's going to get back into the White House. And then what happened on the 6th? I'm not blaming anybody right now. I'm just being honest. Hillary didn't get arrested. Biden didn't get arrested. Podesta didn't get arrested. Trump didn't get back in office. A bunch of people who worship and salivate over Trump were ready for something crazy to happen. A bunch of people did something stupid. A lot of people probably got set up and misled by bad actors one way or another, police, whoever. And now next thing you know, Trump got his own supporters arrested. So it's like nothing that everybody promised everyone for 2 years. Trust the plan, QAnon. I'm 100% sure Trump's going to be in the White House. There's a shot, 2 constitutions. It's all, so let's fast forward now a year. I give people time. I'm like, listen, maybe Trump was in a pickle. Maybe he's going to really turn it around. He's only gotten worse. He's only become more into the vaccine. I could play a clip real quick. This is him on Newsmax. They asked him a question. They said, we know you're not for mandating vaccines, but a lot of people in the health industry are not getting it. What do you think about it? And he says, well, I'll play the clip after, but he basically says, well, I think they should get it. And I think people should kind of tell them. He didn't say they should force them, but he was not saying, I'm concerned that millions of 12-year-olds and millions of kids are being forced vaccinated or threatened into vaccination. I get messages every day. I know I have family members, I have friends that are vaccinated. I don't care what people do with their own body, but when you're telling an 18-year-old that has a very small percentage chance of dying or even being hurt from this, you need to be vaccinated or you can't go to school. You need to be vaccinated or you can't go to work. Telling a 12-year-old you need to get the mRNA jab from Johnson & Johnson, or I'm sorry, Pfizer or Moderna, the Johnson & Johnson, not mRNA, that has no FDA approval yet, that has been emergency use authorized, and these companies have no liability. You need to inject that in your 12-year-old body or else you can't go to summer camp. That's where I have a problem. I don't care what people do with their own body, but when you're forcing and holding 12-year-olds for ransom, when the stats and the data of their death rate versus if you're 80 or 85 years old, this is insane. This is so wicked. Trump doesn't care at all. He hasn't said a word about it. All he says is, let's get it. Yeah, if you're going to tell your healthcare worker to get it, you should. I'm the father of vaccines. I saved all these lives. So the point I'm getting to is you had 4 years of substance, Trump, or 3 years of substance, Trump. They gave you the stimuli like Pavlov's dog. They gave you the food. You're eating. They took the food away. Trump has been, the last year, like a totally different person. You could substitute some of his interviews with Bill Gates, and if you change the words, he sounds like Bill Gates and Fauci. It's just he wants credit for it instead of them. But people don't realize it because they were so conditioned by Trump so successfully because he was so cool, so strong, so real, so honest for so long. But now that the meat's gone, people can't process it and they're still drooling over it. So I feel like it's not just the left that has been conditioned like Pavlov's dog. It's been the right too. And I'm going to play a clip of it real quick. This is him on Newsmax. And once again, before I play it, my problem is not that he wants credit for it, although it's annoying. My problem is not that people are getting it. My problem is this guy that people idolize. I would say it's getting past the point of Christ. They're like, he's going to return. He's going to return. It's like, are you replacing revelation with Trumpism? Like he's going to return? Are you talking about Jesus Christ or Donald Trump? Because it's starting to, like, Christians have replaced Christ with Trump. Like he's going to return to save the world. Like maybe not. Maybe he died. Like, is that your whole religion now? It's getting kind of weird. I voted for him, but it's like, I have Trump ice cubes. I always say that because I do. Like, I like the guy more than your average bear, but people are starting to creep me out. But in general, I don't care that he wants credit. I care that millions of his own supporters and children are being held for ransom, coerced, forced, threatened, and essentially kicked out of school or work for not getting it. Even though Trump has no liability, Pfizer has no liability, Moderna has no liability, the FDA has no liability, the CDC has no liability, and the FDA hasn't even approved it yet. It's an emergency use authorization, meaning emergency. If you're old and you want to get it, get it. If you're middle-aged and you want to get it, get it. If you're above 21 and you want to get it, that's on you. But if you're 12 and you're being forced, or 18 and you can't go to school, this is wrong. And if Trump has a soul and cares about people, his own supporters, he should, I think, have a moral obligation to say something, but he keeps saying stuff like this, and I seem to be one of the only people who's willing to talk about it. But listen to this clip from Newsmax. This was Trump a few days ago.
If they want to be vaccinated or not. But do you think we should require healthcare workers who are exposed to patients to be vaccinated?
Well, I think we should certainly try and convince them. Look, I'm a big fan of the vaccine. I was the one that got it done in record time, less than 9 months. Everyone said it would take 3 years, 5 years. And it's why people are getting better now. We not only did that, we also ordered billions of dollars worth of it before we even knew if it worked. And that was one of the best bets ever made because they wouldn't have their vaccinations yet. But I think having workers, at least convincing them to try and do it, because, I believe in the freedom, I believe in all of that, but the vaccine really has been unbelievably effective, and it's saving this country, it's saving the world. So, yeah, it's something that hopefully you could convince people to do it.
So, he wants you to convince people to take it. Healthcare workers, he's more concerned with that than he is about people. I get messages every day. They're like, what do? I can't go to school. I don't want to get this, but I can't go to school. It's like, this guy's supposed to be the leader, and he's bragging about bringing it and not even saying anything about it. But once again, I don't want to get into it. Pavlov's dog. It's like he gave you substance for so long that when the substance is taken away, people will just drool. And, I understand some people are very into this injection, and that's on you. That's fine. I'm just saying in general, if I read like some of my Twitter comments, I'll just go through a few. I'm not going to read them directly, but listening to what people say, it's starting to make me feel like I have to start treating people who love Trump like a Scientologist or a Muslim. And no disrespect, I love Muslims, I love Scientologists. Like, I don't care what you do. I get along with Muslims and Scientologists, but I'm just saying, like, I keep thinking Trump is like a political movement and he's a candidate that people like, but I'm starting to realize that it's actually like its own religion. So I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, I think I need to treat these people like a religion, because it's like they can't process what I'm saying, and I don't feel like fighting anymore. So I explained that he posted that, and someone writes in the comment section, they say, well, Anomaly, do you think that when Trump says the word vaccine that he doesn't mean vaccine? I'm like, it's one thing to like Trump. It's one thing to be pro Moderna and pro Pfizer. It's another thing to disagree with Trump, but obsess over him so much that you're willing to lie to yourself and listen to these fake broadcasters who tell you that when Trump says vaccine, he's not talking about the Pfizer and the Moderna. He's talking about some secret plan that only you can understand. It's like, dude, that's like crazy stuff. That's like, in my opinion, that's worse than like a religion that I don't even agree with. Like, that's like crazy. Someone said goodbye. Like, I'm not even being rude or mean right now, but it's like, it's literally like worse than like the craziest religion, where people are like, I'm willing to make up a whole fake theory in my head. I mean, you could trace the money. I'm not trying to be rude, but you could trace that he's explaining right there. I bought 100 million doses. He bought 100 million doses of Pfizer, 100 million doses of Moderna. He bought them before they were emergency use authorized. If you know anything about big pharma and the US government, they're not going to spend all this money and just let them go to waste. So of course they're going to jam them down your throat as soon as they possibly can. He's talking about that. That's all I'm trying to say. It's like, whether you love him, don't like him, this, that, like, are you going to admit he's doing that or not? You wouldn't believe. There's some people who love Trump and say, I got the vaccine, I love the vaccine. There's some people who like Trump and say, I disagree with what he's doing with the vaccine, but I still like him. There's millions of people that are literally like, I like him so much that I'm going to pretend that he's not even doing that, because him doing that's inconvenient to my idea of that. That's idolatry. That's like turning him into a Jesus figure that you have to make up a theory about instead of like actually address it. And then I'm reading certain things. I mean, I could just go through the comments and I'm like, my gosh, this is so crazy to see people do this, where I'm like, it's really gotten bizarre, but it is. I mean, you know, once again, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like the Pavlov's dog experiment. They could program and condition humans the same way they can animals. Like, you know, if you give people something enough and repeat it enough, and then you take away the substance, you know, people are going to remember the good times. I mean, you know, I can't count the amount of times I go on, people are going to sell Trump gear, Trump mugs, Trump clothes for 10 years, you know, and I'm not knocking it. Like, make your money, make your bread. If you run a conservative page, knock yourself out. I'm not jealous of anybody's hustle, but it's like, I could feel that people don't actually care about reporting what's going on, because they want to live in this reality where they're winning, regardless of not even winning. It's like, it's like, well, not really. If you lose the presidency, if the country shuts down, if, you know, they usher in like communist medical tyranny, and Trump goes from being like a medical skeptic and a pro-America first guy to like a vaccine salesman who won't even stand up for the tens of millions of people who are being forced with the option, I can't travel, go to work, or go to school without a forced injection, and he has nothing to say about it. You're not really winning. What you're doing is selling gear of a guy that you're trying to pretend like is someone else, because that's fun. It's like the Team Red and we're winning. So, you know, it's the left wing. Obviously, I think they're wildly brainwashed, but I think it's really spammed both parties, and it seems to be like a trick that they do. I don't know if they mean to or not. I can't tell you who is who, or I don't know if he meant, like, I don't know these things. You could speculate on your own. Did he mess up? Did he do the right thing? Did he do the wrong thing? Was it a setup? I'm not trying to get into that. I'm just saying it's like classic conditioning, where you give someone something for so long, take it away, and nobody wants to admit it's there. And you know, I'm really not trying to like be sarcastic. Like, some of the biggest backlash I've gotten in the last year, keep in mind, I have thousands of Trump videos. I have thousands of videos of me defending him. If you would say anything, I've defended him at least 9 times out of 10. At least, I would say maybe 19 times out of 20 is me defending Trump. My whole page from 2016 to 2019 was like defending Trump. And then I go on his page and I just say he had a role in Operation Warp Speed in the lockdown, and I'm getting backlash as if I went on an Islamic page and criticized the prophet, which I would never do, because I respect Islam to the point of I wouldn't criticize someone's prophet or Lord. I'm not that type of person. So I would never do that to Islam. And I'm starting to think that I can't do that with Trump, because if I say something about Operation Warp Speed, I'm getting yelled at, scream. I'm like, wow, this is like you're questioning somebody's God. Someone said you flipped, and I'm like, I didn't flip. And I'm going to say this too. People liked my videos and people were turned on to Trump because I never was this MAGA build a wall person. That was never me. That was never my identity. People are like, you flipped. You were so this way. Find a picture of me in a MAGA hat. It doesn't exist because I was never just like a MAGA. This was never my identity. I never hid behind Trump and said, I'm the Trump guy. People hit me up when I made the one Trump song, not a whole album, one song. I made a song. They hit me up years ago, said, do you want to be in this article as the Trump rapper? And I said, no, I could have got press. I'm not a Trump rapper. I just made a song that says I like Trump. That's not my whole identity. So I turned it down. But in general, I was never that person. I got videos that had 15 million views. I didn't say I'm obsessed with Trump. I will lick the dirt off his shoes. He's my new idol. Not even when I liked him the most. I said, I didn't even vote for Trump. I used to lean left. And this is why Trump's not that bad. And that type of approach really works, I think, because if you hate the other side, you end up turning into the things you hate. It's like sometimes people on the left hate the right so much, they turn into a worse version of the right. The left is worse than the right, in my opinion. They are so hateful, claiming to be peace, love, and positivity. I mean, go to a barbecue in Texas and go to like a liberal, event where they're all tatted up and they do drugs. Like, see where you have more fun. But in general, not to knock all liberals, but you get what I'm saying? It's like the left hates the right so much, they became them. They became a worse version of them. The right hates the left so much, it's like it doesn't make you a good person. So my videos have always been that. They've never been Trump, MAGA, build a wall. It has its place, but that people don't like that. So millions of people saw my video and said, you know what? I do think Trump's not that bad. Half of these influencers that you follow and probably like more than me now, you could ask them, which one of them were inspired by me. I'm not saying I had that big of an impact, but so many people that you love and you probably like 20 times as much as me, they'll be like, it was Anomaly's video that inspired me to wake up. It was Anomaly's video. You were one of the first people. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I got millions of people to like Trump and be conservative. I was never just riding Trump's coattails and just saying Trump. So in 2019, when he passed an anti-Semitism, anti-free speech bill, I opposed it. I've always been talking about what he wasn't doing. The problem was, he was crushing. What am I going to say when he's doing so well for so long? I mean, I don't have these crazy expectations. Just don't lead us to communism and medical tyranny. I don't want forced vaccination and I don't want communism. That's pretty much my bar is so low. Trump exceeded it. So I'm out here saying he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, this guy's crushing it. He's slowing down the war in Syria. He's doing this. And then when he wasn't, I reported on it every step of the way. The omnibus bills, the anti-Semitism speech bills, and certainly the lockdown. So I never turned. Trump changed. And that's the Pavlov's dog experiment. They changed the experiment and I realized it. And a lot of people didn't. And I still voted for him. I'm not voting for Joe Biden. At least gas would be lower. I was talking to someone earlier and people are like, say Trump won. Say Trump was the president. You're still having the lockdowns. None of the lockdowns would have changed. The whole trajectory of the lockdowns wouldn't have changed. The only thing that really would have changed with Trump would have been gas prices. I think would have been less. I really think that's it. I think maybe he would have printed 2 or 3 trillion, maybe instead of 6 trillion, but maybe he doesn't even have the power to do that because it goes through a Congress anyway. So you get what I'm saying? Like, people on the Trump side are thinking, man, if Trump was president, all this would change. Why? He ushered it in. This was ushered in under him. The only thing that I think would have changed was gas prices and lumber prices, possibly. But also, the lockdown has it. Inflation doesn't hit right when they print money. It happens a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later. So I really think gas prices is one of the only things that would have been different. And maybe federal judges and a Supreme Court justice if somebody retires or passes away. It's people think, oh, Trump's going to win and save my life. You're replacing Jesus Christ with Trump. And you could like people, but it's like, do you not get those vibes? Like, he's going to return. He's going to return. He's going to return. He's going to return. And I'm just like, Jesus? No. Trump's going to return this year, next year. He's going to return. He's going to return tomorrow. He's going to return on the 6th, the 20th, the 30th, the 40th. It's like, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll run in 2024. Maybe he won't. But my whole life doesn't revolve around waiting for Trump because he led us here. If he was president, he wasn't changing the trajectory of the lockdowns at all. DeSantis helped. He helped by getting DeSantis there. It helps in some way, but not this huge way that people are expecting. And I'm just like, it's just wild. So, I don't think it's fair to say that I changed. I think that I've just been open-minded and reporting what was going on. And he just did so well for so long. And I think he changed. If you look at his Twitter, and it's okay to change, by the way, there's nothing wrong with evolving and learning. But if you look at his Twitter in 2015, he is an injection skeptic. He's talking about things that Robert F. Kennedy's talking about. He's having meetings with Robert F. Kennedy and possibly even Del Bigtree and talking about all this medical tyranny stuff, because Trump in his head, he knows that and he thought that. So he was always on my side of the equation when it came to medical tyranny and forced injections and how these companies have no liability, which is a kind of a red flag. He was on that side. It's him who he turned from RFK and Del Bigtree into like Bill Gates and Fauci. He has the right to do that if he learned something new. But this idea that I changed so drastically, I don't really think so. Someone said, I have to call you out. I will call you out, my guy. I don't know what you want to call me out on, but knock yourself out. It's like, I'm being as calm as I can possibly be. I'm being as nice as I could possibly be. And I'm getting backlash as if I just, disrespected a Scientologist about their religion or a Muslim about their prophet, which I would never do. But I think I have, and I'm not even being sarcastic. I think I have to do that with Trump now. I don't think I could question him. I don't think I could tell the truth about him. I don't think I could accurately and kindly report what he's doing. I think Trump has started a religion, and I think people freak out when you say the truth about it or you disagree with it. So I have to, in my head, remember that this is a new religion and people are going to bother. I have to call you out in all caps. Like, I'm not freaking out. I'm relaxed. You're freaking out. What are you so mad? What did I say in the last 10 minutes that's so shocking? I even explained at the beginning, we're being programmed all the time. I'm being programmed in sports and, when I watch a commercial, music and visuals, it's all a game to get people to feel a certain way. And when you feel a certain way, you want to do something. That's why they play Sarah McLachlan. That's why they play music that you like at a certain event. That's why they put pretzels when you're drinking, because they know you'll be thirsty and you want to drink more. This is all things that they're doing. So if you won't even consider that it's happening to you, it is happening. Someone said Trump lives in your head. Not really. I'm talking about the Pavlov dogs experiment because I thought it was interesting. I thought it would be interesting to explain how the left wing has been programmed, and I thought it would be interesting to explain how the right wing has been programmed. But people can't handle it. Just like I'm sure the left doesn't want to hear the left side, and the right doesn't want to hear the right side. But that's the whole thing I'm talking about. He doesn't live in my head. I'm just saying you have 100 million people. Their goal is to bring back the guy who was here in 2020. But the guy who was here in 2020 is the one who started all of this lockdown stuff. So if you're trying to go back to one of the worst years on record for businesses, because that's what you think is going to solve this problem, you're no better than a liberal. It's the left or right trap. I hate AOC. I hate Trump. I hate Marjorie Taylor Greene. You think it's shocking to me that MTG, AOC, they have these nice nicknames like they're just picked out or something. But it's like you guys are fighting like angry people. And when you become angry and hateful, you become what you hate. And I saw this years ago. And I talked about this years ago, how certain people who love Trump, I feel like they were righteous people. A lot of people, good people who knew that he was doing the right thing. But a lot of people, not all, but some, I could tell they weren't good people. They were hiding their wickedness, their anger, their hate, I don't want to do it, so I'll make him do it and I'll just cheer. And these are the people that can't move on because it's like their whole life revolves around hiding behind Trump, just being rude to people and pushing him out and letting him do all the work. So God forbid he doesn't do something. Instead of, stepping up, it's time for us to step up. No one wants to step up. That's the difference. I'm not knocking him, but he's not my God. He's not Jesus. So if he goes right and I want to go left, I'm going to go left. And I'm not talking about left wing. I'm just saying he goes down lockdown medical tyranny lane with Bill Gates. I'm going down. I care about the children who are being forced injections. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm not going to focus on an election to get the vaccine salesman back into office so he can do exactly what he did in 2020. I'm going to focus on the tens of millions of people who are suffering and being forced injection because of Donald Trump, because he wants credit for it, because he claims he rushed the FDA, although he's probably lying. He doesn't live in my head. I'm not hateful of him. And I certainly don't hate people who like him. I love them. I go to these events and people are some of the nicest people are Trump supporters. But at a certain point, they're playing a game with us. It's a left-right trap. You know, in my Way Too Jack for the Gulag song, I said, you know, left-right trap, they set it up like a crew, man. Get what I'm saying? Everything is, it's like a whole little game where like the left sucks, but if fighting the left means protecting trillions of dollars of printout loans and making excuses for Operation Warp Speed, you lost. That, you know, and people are realizing. Once again, I'm not trying to brag, but the conversation I was trying to have 2 years ago about Israel is now a mainstream conversation in Republican politics, including pro-Israel Republicans are now starting to realize what I was saying 2 years ago. And Trump supporters were screaming at me for saying that these Zionists in the right-wing party, my problem with them is not that they love Israel. My problem with them is that they prioritize Israel over America. Take Lindsey Graham for an example. He's over on Memorial Day. He's in Israel holding a sign that says more for Israel. More what? More dead soldiers? More of our taxpayer money? More what, Lindsey Graham? It's Memorial Day. You can't give Memorial Day to the American soldiers. You have to fly over to Israel and hold a sign like with Bibi Netanyahu looking like his little submissive slave. You know, and Ted Cruz, it's the same thing. Why isn't he in Texas? You know, Texas was under lockdown for a year and he's over in Israel. I was never hateful of Israel. I was never hateful of Jewish people. I was just telling you, until Trump supporters realize that their party is run by Zionist Republicans who don't give a crap about American workers, who don't give a crap about the Constitution, who don't give a crap about the First Amendment, and who don't give a crap about the lockdown that a lot of them helped usher in, you're not winning. I'm with Trump. I'm against Trump. It's all a game, you know? And this conversation is finally mainstream in the Republican Party. And all of these people who are pro-Israel are finally realizing what we were talking about. We were never being hateful of a group of people. We were just telling you, your politicians are subservient to a foreign country that cares about themselves more than they care about you. And you can't serve two masters. So, you know, America should care about America first. And if you want to care about Israel second, that's fine. Israel, of course it cares about Israel first. Why wouldn't it? Saudi Arabia cares about Saudi Arabia first. Russia cares about Russia first. China cares about China first. But America is the only country on the planet that can't care about its culture, that can't care about demographics, that can't care about their own, you know, host religion, which is no longer the religion of America. It's been a trap. It's been a trap for years. And Trump was playing into it. He was passing speech laws. People don't remember that in 2018 or 2019. I'm telling people that Trump's passing First Amendment laws. Oh, you changed. I've been saying this for years. It's just, I move on. You know, I say what I say. I don't like to be a repetitive thing. I like to do different stories. So I'm not going to just sit and make the same video a million times. But, you know, I didn't change or sell out. It's just like, you know, I'm programmed probably to a certain extent like everybody, but I'm not playing this game. I see through it. And that's why I was hoping some people, you know, I think will watch this and be like, I'll consider it. If you can consider it, God bless you. That's all it is, because it becomes like a sports game and like a high school event where like you're cheering so hard and you're fighting for your team and you open your eyes and your team's not even on your side anymore. So it's like, it's not a sports game. You know, it's like when you open your eyes after you're fighting so hard, you might realize that, and especially now after a year of, you know, Trump kind of being a different person, it's worth a consideration. I'm going to try to read some star chats on Facebook. Sorry, I can't see your messages, and it's very hard for me to type and do anything with my hands. Shakaya said, thank you, Anomaly. God bless you from your reporting from Canada. Thank you. Steve said, hey, bro, speaking the truth. Thank you, Steve. Freddie said him and GSBGAF, who DSDP are responsible. Someone said Gates bought massive amounts of farmland. He's no farmer. Oh, for sure. Yeah. These people are playing chess, you know? And that's what I'm saying too. I mean, I don't want to, someone said you don't need to defend myself. I'm just trying to explain myself because I explain myself for a living. I explain things. So I'm not defending like I'm so, oh my God. I just want to explain myself. For instance, like the narrative of the right wing now, it's like, I rush the vaccines, you know, we need to stand for Israel. And, you know, I don't even know what they're saying anymore because I don't care, because my narrative for a year now, I'm not following them. It's like lockdowns are destructive. They hurt more people than they save. people are being forced injection, and that's just totally tyrannical. And if you look at the deaths and the hospitalization rate, it's mostly obesity. So we have an obesity problem. I'm not running in circles around Trump for 3 years when he's selling vaccines and doing the same. It's like, I'm over it. I don't care if people do, but don't get mad at me when I talk about something else or tell the truth about it. It's like, in general, if they would have mandated workouts, did you know life expectancy in America was always getting better and better and better and better? Sorry, I gotta do my hand weird. It's getting better, and now it's getting worse. For the first time in recent history, life expectancy is getting worse in America. Do you know why it's getting worse? If you Google why is life expectancy going backwards in the United States, you'll find even our experts in the top news and agencies admit it's because of drug overdoses. A lot of these drug overdoses are not illegal drugs. A lot of them are illegal drugs. Who sells the legal drugs? The same industry that's responsible for the lockdown injections. So these people don't give a crap about our health. I don't care how much Trump talks about it. Are some pharmacy products good? Of course. Have I gotten injections in my body in my life, and am I fine? I hope I'm fine, but yeah, I have. I'm not anti this. It's happened to me. I mean, I didn't have a say when I was little, but in my adult life, I had a say. You get what I'm saying? I'm not anti this or pro this, or you're pro Trump or you hate Trump. It's like, no, I don't subscribe to this narrative that these people are pushing. It's like, I have to just talk about Israel and vaccines and election because that's what Trump's talking about. I'm talking about it's an obesity problem. It's a pill problem. And the industries and the agencies that are behind the negligence of obesity, bad diets, bad exercise, and pills are the same ones telling you to sit inside your house, pop pills, watch TV, and get injections is a healthy lifestyle. And it's not a healthy lifestyle. And I don't care if Trump says it. I don't care if Fauci says it. I don't care if Ted Cruz flies over to Israel and Saudi Arabia on the next day. I don't care what these people are doing because I'm focused on my country, but I'm also focused on the world in a different way, not in forcing injections down their throat. If they want it, that's fine. So just creating my own narrative. That's all I'm doing. And someone, Mud said government was never supposed to be a full-time job for those who are in it. This is a different story, but I'm sure that government just grew and grew and grew. And at this point, I don't think it was probably ever meant to be this big in America, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, that's all I'm doing. And I'm going to read some comments real quick. Let me see. Oh, with the anti and pro stuff too. Now that my video is done, I'm gonna start writing my book, but I'm not gonna name names because I don't even know if it's true, but I've heard that there's bigger influencers. They're going on Instagram and stuff. And trust me, I could care less. My credibility and my reporting, like nobody believes these people because they see what I do. But in general, they're like, Anomaly's an anti-Trumper. He's an anti. Guys, these words don't mean anything. In fact, I'm writing a whole book on why they don't mean anything. You're pro-Trump or you're anti-Trump. You're a Democrat or you're a Republican. Either you vote for Romney or you vote for McCain. You're pro-vaxxer or you're anti-vaxxer. I'm a Moderna. I'm Team Pfizer. I got a card on I love Moderna so much. I got a card tattooed to my arm. It's like, that's crazy. But you get what I'm saying? Like, these words mean nothing to me. You're a racist. You're a sexist. You're an anti-Semite. That's what you say when you don't know what you're talking about. Explain to me how I hate a group of people. You probably can't. That's why I use that word. Explain to me why I'm anti-Trump. How is one of the most pro-Trump influencers who got millions of people, including half the people who are now talking trash about me, probably saw my video, and that helped them get to where they're at. And now they're saying I'm anti-Trump? No, these people are just so knee deep in it. It's like, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the words I'm saying. It's my whole life doesn't revolve around him like a planet. You get what I'm, and at one point it did. I'm not knocking it like I'm making fun of people. It's interesting. Trump is interesting. Politics is interesting. The battle that's going on is fascinating. It's very entertaining. So at one point, it did revolve around that in some extent, but if things change, I don't hold on to a Trump teddy bear every night thinking like my life means nothing until he comes back. I'm going to be 60 years old waiting for Trump to return. My whole life doesn't revolve around this. I'm not anti, you get what I'm saying? If he's crushing, I'll say he's crushing. If he's doing something whack, I'll say it's whack. Am I going to wish harm on him? Or no, I hope he lives a long, healthy life. And I pray that he comes to his senses or changes his tune a little bit, or at least people who support him wake up and challenge him a little bit. That's all I want. I don't want people to hate him and spit on the ground that he walks on. I want people to challenge him. That's the whole movement. It started as challenging the GOP to hold their ground and do things like build a wall and stop the wars. That was the Trump movement. It wasn't running in circles around Trump. It was when he was doing right. But now, it's okay to just, that's been my message for a year now. It's like, just hold your ground with what you believe and you'll see that things change. The country's great because 50 million, 100 million people are pro First Amendment, pro Second Amendment, pro God, and, believe and can do stuff like farming. And that's why the country's great. It's not because of Ted Cruz. I mean, he's played his role. Trump played his role. I appreciate Trump's role. He played a bigger role than most, but you make the country great. We make the country great. If you replace American conservatives with another group of people, there is no Trump movement. You get what I'm saying? So all praise to the Most High, but at the same time, have a little bit of respect for yourself as well. It's like, you're not a push rag doll, not for Jeb Bush, not for Trump. It's okay. It's okay to just be like, nah. And that's been my message since last April. Kane said, now you appreciate Trump. Dude, it's like Keynes. God bless you, my brother. It's like talking to a religion. I've said this every time I talk about him. There's obviously pros of what he brought culturally. I think culturally he injected so much inspiration into conservatism. He pumped life in what was almost a dead course. I will always appreciate him doing that. As far as his policy, the lockdown, the warp speed, his complete flop, the fact that he never stood up for his own supporters, the fact that people who helped him win the election, like Steve Bannon with Cambridge Analytica and Steve Bannon's mind, he kicked Steve Bannon to the curb, called him sloppy Steve. Eventually, this guy's going to lose. He's not Jesus Christ. You can't be that egotistical and that full of yourself and that, unsupportive of the people who support you, or you're going to lose it all. If I treated people who supported me like dirt and they were reaching out for help and I didn't care, eventually I'm going to lose my platform too. He's a human. So am I. I never hated him. Oh, you complimented Trump? I have 1,000 videos complimenting him. I compliment him 1,000 times. I say one honest thing saying, just think twice about this. And people freak out as if I question the prophet and their religion when they pray 8 times a day. I'm not being sarcastic or rude when I say I think people have taken a religious stance on Trump. It didn't matter to me as much, it wasn't as obvious when things are going well. And I don't think it was as obvious as like a year later, you're like, wow, people are still doing this. I'm not saying I'm changing. It's just like a new analysis of it. But I've never been hateful. I get annoyed sometimes, but I wish good for him and I appreciate the good things that he's done. Someone said, I also think that unwavering belief is dangerous. Our very disturbing thing I've noticed about your society in general is your blind acceptance to what you're told. JT. I agree. I think that's a good comment, John. Thank John McErney. I appreciate the comment. I think it's a good one. Sorry, Facebook. I don't know what's going on, but the app, they keep updating the Facebook and Instagram app and they keep glitching, but it's all good. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Six. Someone said this live proves it. What's wrong with people? I know. And I started because here's the thing. 2 things. You can't control things, but I can control myself. So I can't be mad at people. I know people get repetitive. I'm done getting upset. I don't want to get mad. I don't want to get annoyed. I'm handling myself well. But for a while, I was trying to figure out what's going on. So now if I stay calm, the truth comes out more. Because if I get worked up, they're like, well, not only got worked up, I got more worked up. If I stay cool as a cucumber and people start lashing out in all caps, I'm going to call you out. Call me out. Do what you got to do. I don't know what your angle is, but in general, it's like, I'm not saying anything crazy here. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not yelling. I'm not mad. I don't hate Trump. I'm just saying what I'm saying. And you're ready to attack me like someone questioned the law. I'm not being sarcastic. That's just what it seems like. Thank you, Larissa. I appreciate it. I'm going to read this. Denise said, I want Trump in office now as he won the audits will prove for 2024. We on DeSantis. So if you didn't believe what I was saying earlier about this being a religion, God bless you, Denise, on YouTube. But Denise says, I want Trump now. So she's saying Trump's coming back and then DeSantis in 2024 because Trump's going to be back this year. Is this not proving my point? She thinks that Trump is going to come back this year. Why? Because Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell. I like Lynn Wood now because he wore a God bless hat, so I'm biased. But Lynn, who's telling you this stuff? Like, people are seriously, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, she's like, well, I'll take DeSantis in 2024 because Trump's going to come back. The audits will prove that. You think the audits are going to bring Trump back into office? I would say maybe you have a 0.0001% chance, but even if the audit's proof, you think Biden's going to leave the White House? I mean, it's just, it's become a religion. It's become a cult. Jesus won't return. Trump will. Trump's going to be back. He's going to be back in a year, in a month. I mean, and here's the part that really fascinates me. I've noticed with a lot of these accounts that I kind of browse in, I'll call them Q accounts. I'm not blaming every Q person, but like these accounts that it's not the fact that they don't predict properly. I don't care. Everybody makes mistakes. It's not a big deal. It's the fact that they pathologically lie about doing it. So like I'll follow someone's channel and they'll say, I predict that Trump will be back on January 20th. Biden's going to get arrested. It's going to happen. As soon as the 25th happens, it's not just that they say, hey guys, I made an error. Like a few of the accounts are like, yeah, I was wrong. Most of these people are literally like certified psychopaths. They're like, I never said that. I never said that. It's like, dude, it's okay to be wrong. I've made mistakes too, but like, you can't admit that you said that. Like, if I said something, did I vote for Bernie against Hillary Clinton? I did. Is it the most proud moment of my life? It's not, but I thought that Bernie was better than Hillary, and I thought he was realer than he really was. I'm not going to lie and freak out when people say that. Like, no, like, no, that I did that. That absolutely happened. These people are not only bad at predict, like as soon as it doesn't happen, Trump will be back in August. Trump will be back in January. Trump will be back in March. And then I'll watch their video, and the next day they act like it never happened, and they're lashing out like crazy about to people who said that. They're like, hey, I follow you, and do you remember when you said that last month? They're like, oh, you someone sent you, and you're like, bro, are you serious? Like, dude, these people are not well. And I'm not trying to be mean, but like these people are not well. Like, it's beyond just bad predictions and like cult worship. It's like you've become like a pathological liar, you know? And like there's documentation of this stuff and they still won't admit to it. It's pretty wild. But let's read some comments. Someone said Bolshevik Bernie. Yeah, they're trying to say that's an anti-Semitic trope. They're like, Bolshevik Bernie is anti-Semitic. It's like, really? Let me read the. And I honestly, you know, to be fair too, I think on top of like political tension, you had a lockdown. So instead of going out and conversing, we were forced in front of our cell phone and our computer. What does that do to the mind? Like if I'm on my phone for 12, 14 hours a day, my world is the computer. You know, I live, this is a sad reality. I live on the phone more than I live in real life. In order to drop my video this morning, I edited all last night and then I dropped it in the morning and then I had to post it. I run all my own stuff. I'm on the computer all the time for work. And then when I'm bored, I sit on the computer. You know, at a certain point, you become consumed by the cell phone and the computer. So, you know, when people who normally get out more and have a job and have like things to do, when they're forced on a computer, you buy into this reality because who wants to think that the bad guys are taking over? No one wants to think Joe Biden's winning. Nobody wants to think that Trump isn't going to save the world. So it becomes a thing where it's like, not only are you not allowed to be out in the real world as much, but it feels good. It's like watching like Pokemon or anime. You know, you're watching a fake reality to feel better. Like, why do you watch a movie? It's not real. Well, it's because it's funny or sad or I don't know. You escape. It's an escape from reality. So people have done with the Q stuff. They've taken reality, made a fake script about it, and then injected it into politics and told people that it's really going to happen. So it's like a Star Wars-esque fantasy using real people that was never true, but people have bought in so hard that you get what I'm saying? That it's like you don't want to let it go because you were just consumed by it. Censor said, I'm a clone and a robot. Bro, you're ridiculous. Someone said, you're a computer. It's a sad reality. Bro, I'm not a computer. people have met me at an event, dude. Like I have shows and events that I perform at, unless you think it's a hologram, but I've shaken hundreds of hands. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Someone said, haha, the bad guys are taking over. Censor, God bless you, my man. But like, if you're so deep in the hole that you're like, Anomaly's a clone and a robot, despite the fact that he's been at hundreds of events in the flesh and talked to literally people that you probably agree with. Dude, maybe you're just trolling. I don't know. It's kind of creepy though. If you're trolling, it's funny. Someone said, I heard this was this. I'm not here to tell you what's a psyop or not. I'm just saying, think about it, because everything is like music, people, just critical thinking. That's all it is. It doesn't matter if you're left or right. Just think critically. Be able to understand, like, whether it's me, whether it's Trump, whether it's Alex Jones, certainly CNN, Fox News, whoever, just understand that nobody's God. If you believe in God, God is God. Trump is not God. I am not God. Tucker Carlson's not God. Sean Hannity's not God. Don Lemon is certainly not God. If Don Lemon's God, this is a screwed up planet that we're on. But in general, nobody's God. So it's okay. Like, you don't have to hate anybody. You don't have to freak out. But if you make somebody God, they're going to disappoint you because they're not God. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't want people to just blindly follow me. If I say something, feel free to, that's why I print stuff out. I show you the article, but it's like, in general, look it up. You know what I'm saying? Do your own research. I don't know everything on it. I read 2 articles and it's just an article. I'm reading what someone else wrote. Maybe you could watch a video. So that's all I'm asking, is to just critically think, because this is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, when you replace God or you put a godlike faith into a politician, a human, it becomes like really weird. That's all. I don't want people to do that to me. If I make a mistake, call me out. Luckily, I do so much work that's accurate. When I do make mistakes, people do call me out, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I was wrong. Sometimes I get little things wrong, and because I'm usually so honest, my audience doesn't look at my videos and say, oh, Anomaly is so right. Sometimes people realize it and they're like, dude, that's wrong. And I don't say, F you, trust the plan. I'm like, oh yeah, you're totally right. Let me read. I've redone a whole video after it had 50,000 views, because it was such a minute mistake that I made that it wasn't even a big deal. Most people would have left it up. I took it down. I took a huge hit with views and circulation, because I was like, I want my reporting to be 100% accurate. I don't want to be 89, 99. I want to be flawless. And also I have to be, because not like perfect flawless, but my reporting has to be spot on, because Facebook's looking for a reason to take me off. So if I have any little mistake in my reporting, Facebook's going to see it and use that. They're probably scoping every video I do, hoping that I screw up, because they even penalize me when I don't. So I just don't want to mess up, and I don't want to lie, but it's like, I take things down even when it's a little wrong. All right. So I apologize, Facebook, that I can't see all the comments, but I'll read a few more on YouTube and then I'll go. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it always. And thank you to everybody who checked out the video and watched it. If you don't, it's not a big deal. A lot of people say, Anomaly, don't rap. It's like, I wear different hats. So it's like, if you don't like it, you can move on. If you do like it, I appreciate it. But I'm doing pretty well, and I work at my own pace. So when I drop a song, I don't need 1 million streams or 20 million streams. I want people to enjoy it. And also I have songs with pretty big bands, and I've done shows with a lot of people. So I'm in a blessed thing. I can perform when I want. I could drop a song when I want. I don't care that much. If I cared, I'd drop an album every month. But I just, I like the news reporting, honestly, more than I like rapping sometimes. It's easier. It's like more it's quicker, I like the live stream, so you don't have to worry. Do I sing church songs? When I'm at church, do I sing church songs? Yeah, I love to sing church songs. But do I go and perform and sing church songs? No, I'm not a good singer. I'm a better rapper, hip hop artist. So I'll sing in church. Like I like to sing, but like, am I the guy they book? Like, hey, Anomaly, you're the lead act. Like I'm not I'm not really a good singer, to be honest. I'm like an average singer. You know, my voice can be a part of the choir, but as far as like the lead voice, it's like la la la. Like that's not me. I'm kind of trash at singing, but. Someone said Anomaly's becoming the next Jim Jones who led his followers to their fate in Guyana. I'm not familiar with that story, but I don't lead anybody anywhere. So I don't know. Out of any influencers or any people, I don't lead anybody anywhere. Like there's not like calls to action in my thing. Like do what I say. I literally say, do what you want to do. People, Anomaly, I'm a parent. Like there's plenty of people. Here's how you should parent. I'm not telling people how to parent. I don't tell people how to raise their kids. Anomaly, should I move here, move where you want to move? You could listen to my streams. I don't tell anybody to do anything. So how in the world am I going to lead a cult to Guyana when people ask me all the time for advice and I don't even give them advice? What about this? I don't know. Don't listen to me. I'm just a guy on YouTube. You know, I mean, listen to my news reporting. You know, you could listen to my podcasts and analysis. But as far as like seeking advice from me, I don't have time, or I don't think I have the resume to give people advice. I'm still living my life. I'm focused on myself. So people get, so I don't know what you're mad at, but people have been getting really worked up. I think it's because I question Trump, but I don't know. I don't really care, but it's like Anomaly's leading people to Guyana. It's like literally not, but whatever. Let me see. What do I think about claiming to be a Christian scientist in order to have religious exemption? I don't know. If you're a Christian scientist, would that give you a religious exemption? I don't know. That's not my forte as far as, you know, that's once again, that's a decision that you can make based on how you feel and what you want to do. I don't give people advice. I'm not liable. I'm not, you know, I don't want to be responsible one way or another. So it's not up to me what you do. Nerferdy Fatin, what's going on? Said, do you think all of this is an ongoing attack on the middle class? Yeah, I mean, if you look at the pandemic, the billionaire class made a killing. The tech companies made a killing. Uber Eats did great, and mom and pop shops and restaurants declined. So I think this increased the wealth gap even more. The rich got richer. Physical, I think a lot of this is digital too. You know, right now, Facebook, Amazon, they were already on a trajectory to take over stuff, and they just kind of bell curved it, where it's like they would have taken over maybe in 15, 20 years slowly. But during the pandemic, they took over faster than ever, not because of free market capitalism under Trump, because most of the states and digital commerce forced shutdown of physical businesses for the most part. And millions of restaurants, I mean, not millions, but millions of businesses, 100,000 plus restaurants, maybe 1 million restaurants. I don't know. They got wiped out. So I think it's absolutely an attack on the middle class. I think it's a conversion of physical life into digital life. And I don't want to get creepy with it, but I do think that if you look at the future of like VR, Oculus Rift, you know, this is like digital's merging with physical, and even banking, it's all digital. Facebook, it's all digital. There's artificial intelligence working for Facebook algorithms, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like this is already creeping up on society, and I feel like that was like a way to make it happen even faster, and also kind of disguise it as if it's not even happening. Like what I'm saying is not a theory. What I'm saying is not left or right. It's like this happened. Now the conversation would be, do you think it was smart to lock down to save lives, or was it not? But the fact that this happened, it happened. It's just like some people, you know, you get what I'm saying, but no one's having that conversation because I like Trump. I hate Trump. I hate Anomaly. I love Anomaly. He's the best. He's the worst. I hate AOC. No, it's left. I trust the plan. It's like, that's all cool. But I'm just saying, regardless left or right, what theory you believe, like that's what happened during the lockdown. The tech companies gained power. The tech companies took over jobs. Zoom took over real life. Oculus Rift took over the halftime show. They replaced human beings with computers at sports games. That happened. That really happened. And no one talks about it because, you know, on Fox News, I'm not trying to knock Fox because there's some good people on there, but you have Geraldo Rivera yelling at someone like Michelle Malkin. And I like Michelle Malkin, but it's like, well, it's like they're just yelling at each other over immigration. It's interesting sometimes, but I find it I don't like the energy of people yelling at each other, but sometimes it's funny. So it's like, it's a big circus they put on. So conservatives watch Fox News. They're yelling about immigration and build a wall and vaccines, and no one has a conversation about the middle class, the upper class. I think Tucker Carlson seems like the only one that I see that consistently does interesting takes. They're not my takes, but I like his takes. I don't always agree with it, but Tucker seems like the only one there that's like doing these stories or different, maybe not that one, but a different one. And everyone else is just doing this generic, back and forth sort of thing where it's like, it's funny, it's interesting, but it's not my cup of tea. Someone said, can't cuck the tuck. I think he's the best on television for sure. Someone said Geraldo yelling at Dan Bongino. Yeah, I mean, it's funny or interesting, but it's like, I don't know. I don't like people yelling at each other, but also I'm like, what are you yelling at? What's he yelling at you? Like, what's the conversation? Geraldo, man, that guy I'm not really a fan of. No offense. I'm not a hater. I'm sure we'd get along, but his takes to me are always just trash, like he's just there to yell at somebody. Like, it's not my thing, but whatever. Elsewhere Bear said, this is a seed war. What is a seed information? What's DNA? It's an interesting take elsewhere. Someone said Geraldo. Okay. Geraldo. I'm sorry. Geraldo Rivera. It's like Kamala. If you don't say it right, you're a racist. So Geraldo. I apologize to my Hispanics. I should know better. I'm part Puerto Rican. So Geraldo Rivera. My bad, Geraldo. Lo siento. Can I say museum? No, I don't say that word right. Museum. I always say it wrong. Make them tab bear. That's my weakness. There's certain words. Museum, I don't say properly. French words, I don't say properly. Tanzania, I said Tanzania. I just butchered. People from Tanzania were like, bro, I appreciate the video, but you suck at saying Tanzania. And I'm like, you're not wrong. Anomaly, you should talk about being censored with James O'Keefe or Tim Pool. Well, I got to talk to James O'Keefe. As far as Tim Pool, I mean, maybe when the time's right. I love your accent. I don't know if it's an accent. I just can't pronounce words. Someone said, I pray to Anomaly every night. You could pray for me. I'd appreciate it if you pray for me, but don't pray to me. Pray to God. Please don't pray to me. But you could pray for me. I'll take a prayer, but I don't think that's going to work. You got to pray to God. Kamala said, have a nice long weekend. I should print it out, but I did it. I Photoshop, or someone Photoshopped. I put her next to Jack Nicholson from The Shining. She's like, have a good weekend. And if you see Jack Nicholson to the side of her, she looks just like him. So someone Photoshopped the pictures together. I should print them out next time. I'll put them on. I have her. She's such, and if you zoom in on her face, it's like Jack Nicholson or Jack Nicholas. I don't know. Which one is it? I'm not good with movies. You get it. Is Tanzania a Swahili word? I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm ignorant, but I'm ignorant to where the origin of Tanzania is. I don't know. Someone said I got fact checked for that. What, the meme of Kamala? Yeah, the fact checkers are insane. Someone said I'd love to see Anomaly interview or talk to Charlie, Candice, Hodswins, Terrence, Diamond and Silk, Prager, you. I'd be willing to talk to them, but I don't like I think if I had like an agent or like a manager, maybe I could book more things, but I'm so busy. I don't know. I guess I could do that. I just don't care that much. So like if I reached out, I could probably get a Prager interview. I just don't care. To me, I like to do my thing. And if they want to interview me, they could ask me, for the most part. I might talk to Candace at some point, but for a lot of people that I don't know, I just don't reach out. And it's no disrespect. It's just like, if they really want to talk to me, we could set it up, but I don't have time to be messaging people. I like to move at my pace. Maybe I'm too slow. I don't know. But, you know, I like to do my own thing. Someone said, if you don't humble yourself and turn from your wickedness, God ain't going to hear you. You may as well pray to a tree. I mean, I definitely agree. I don't disagree with that at all. Anomaly on cereal boxes? All right, you're just trolling. Shut up. Too slow for the gulag? Yeah, I might be too slow now. They've screwed up my finger. I'm going to be too slow for a month. Philippines, Asia, Duarte. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with what he's doing. All right, I'll read a few more. I'm having fun. I'm in a good mood today, and I've come to my own thing where I'm like, I'm not gonna get. I mean, most of the time I'm pretty chill, but like, I'm over certain things. I feel at peace now because it's like, you know, I'm trying to do what I can, and then you just got to let it go. It's like, you know, I feel like God has my back, God has our back, and I could do something, but I can't be freaking out all the time. I'm not gonna cry, you know. I'm over it. I feel good. I feel at peace. I'm not going to like get too worked up about anything. As long as my pronouns are there. Yeah, my pronouns are stop and taxing me. Stop taxing me. That's my pronouns. Stop stealing my money from taxes. Cement mattress killed it, bro. Thank you, Phil. That's a classic. Appreciate you, brother. The light is kind of getting my eye. Do I listen to Odd Payday, Monsanto, Crino, or Burden? No, I don't. I mean, Monsanto to me is a company, but is that a rapper that I don't know about? I'm so uncool. You named rappers. I'm like, you talking about Monsanto or are you talking about a rapper? That's how cool I am. I don't even know who that is. I'm not cool. Anomaly, can I play you 1-on-1 in a street hoop game? I mean, that's a possibility. Right now I can't, but I do have to say, I had a fractured thumb for a month. This is my strong hand. And I was balling on people with a fractured thumb. I didn't even know it was fractured. I'm out there just balling, I'm winning. And then it hurt pretty bad because I had a fractured bone, but I didn't even realize. So I probably could beat you right now, but I got to wait till it heals because I don't want to have permanent hand damage. Even this live stream, I feel like it hurt. I got to figure out how to tie it better. Hold on a second. I don't know. Brett said they use labels, even country names at this point, to hide the fact that the elites have formed their own coalition against the world of normal people. Yeah, and that's just like a power move, I think. Like a power move is using social justice to divide people. If you use social justice to change it, but, you know, not to get too controversial at the end of a calm stream, but, you know, there is no, and I know people don't even realize this on both sides, but there is no targeted Asian hate coming because people hate Asians. The problem is cities aren't safe anymore. It's like when Jews got attacked by Palestinians in Beverly Hills, it wasn't like Palestine and Israel. It was like people with money in Beverly Hills aren't safe in Beverly Hills anymore because the city sucks, you know? So it's like these Asian crimes, it's more like the New York City is not safe anymore. And there's a certain ethnicity that's committing most of the crimes. And people are trying to figure out why. It's because there's too much crime. It's not like this one lady who is a conservative was like, Anomaly, it has to be a hate crime because why aren't there like white and Filipino people attacking Asians? And I'm thinking to myself, well, there's people in the hood and in certain areas, they're killing people every day. Black people are getting murdered every day in these cities, but you never hear a peep about it because the murders are coming from other Black people. Every week, some street rapper that was blowing up on YouTube is getting murdered in one of these, you know, street areas of a big city. So it's like the problem isn't Black people hate Asians or white people hate Asians. The problem is these cities are not safe anymore. And when people kill their own ethnicity, the news doesn't care. They only care when a Black person punches like an Asian lady in the face or something. And then they're like, why did that happen? It's like, well, move to the hood and you'll figure out why it happens. I've been in the hood before in Brooklyn, and it was always like that. I mean, you go to these corner stores that an Asian owns or, you know, some Indian dude owns, this dude's getting harassed, screamed at. I'm sure they get attacked like multiple times a year. Like I've been in like bad parts of Brooklyn, or at least I'm not gonna say bad, but definitely not the safe, nicer, upscale parts of Brooklyn. And I've seen almost 2 people, like someone threatened to kill me, literally just for walking in the store. And they're threatening to kill the Indian guy behind the counter. Like, this is not this astronomical liberal thing. It's Asians in the city are not safe anymore. And the bad parts of the city are growing. So the bad parts of the city used to stay in the city, but people are getting smarter. They have technology. So now they know, why would we do it here? Let's go to the nice area and steal their cars and steal their watch. So now they drive their ass to Beverly Hills and they beat the crap out of people in Beverly Hills in broad daylight. It's not because they hate Jews or they hate Asian people. It's because they're committing crimes all the time against their own ethnicity in their own cities, and no one cares about it. They only care when they do it to someone else. And to me, that just proves that liberals don't care about black people, because how come thousands of black people can get murdered and you're not going to say a peep until an Asian person gets punched in the face? I don't understand how the black liberals don't understand this. If you really think Black Lives Matter, they're ignoring thousands of black deaths. They're ignoring thousands of black children being killed. And then they only care when an Asian lady gets punched in the face. And then all of a sudden they try to act like the Black Lives Matter and Asian Lives Matter is the same thing. It's not even the same thing. It's all fake activism. These cities are not safe. These areas are getting really bad, and these areas are growing, and now people feel emboldened, especially after all the riots. The media basically told them, you're the good guy. You know, when you guys burn stuff down or rob this store, we're going to defend you. We're going to act like you're good and bail you out of jail. So they're more emboldened now than ever, combined with, people are spreading out. So areas that I knew that used to be safe, they're not safe anymore. So that's the story. No offense to my Asian and Jewish, friends and family and whatever. It's just like, it's not targeted Asian hate, and I don't think it's targeted Jewish hate. It's these cities are not safe. Philadelphia, New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, it's not safe. And there's a certain demographic that's committing an astronomical amount of violent crime. But nobody cares when they commit all the violent crime, because 80 to 90 something % of the violent crime is against their own race. So what tells you that Black lives don't matter to liberals more than the fact that they ignore 90% of black murders because it doesn't fit their racial narrative? I don't get how they don't process this. Like, if I was black and I was a black activist, I'd be pretty frustrated that liberal news only cares when an Asian woman gets punched in the face, but not when a black girl gets murdered by a gang member. Like, doesn't that matter? They just chalk it up as another death and move on. It's like, if you really care about these lives, it doesn't matter if it's Asian, black, white, Jewish. Like, do you care about lives or not? They don't care. They're just exploiting the hell out of the black community. And then Biden says white supremacy is the #1 problem in America. Yeah, people like Joe Biden that are brainwashing an entire ethnic group of people and then brainwashing every ethnic group of people into being that's the white supremacy. Joe Biden is the supremacist. It's like his version of white supremacy is all like a big shield, so people don't realize that most of these violent crimes in the cities are not being committed by white people. And that's just what's going on. I'm not trying to be mean or hateful, but it's like, it's really obvious. And, I saw some liberal on Twitter and she was like, I can't figure out why she was just so blown away that, after fighting white supremacy for so long, that all these Asian videos she's saying, almost none of them are white people. And she was trying to process. It was kind of sad because she's like doing this whole spread about how she used to do activism work in Georgia. And she's like, I really can't put my finger on how come all these attacks are like this race of people? And it's like, really? You don't know? It's not a new thing. It's just the media doesn't care when black people die. And I'm not it happens so often in Chicago. Why is that not a story? If Black Lives Matter, every week people would be like, dude, 10 black people got murdered. There's a mass shooting in Texas, 4 guys run it. But the race narrative is not correct. The liberals need a racially divisive narrative, or else they don't care if 100 people die, 1,000. It's gross. It's disgusting. So as much as I talk about conservatives, just analyzing, the liberals are awful. The Real Revolution said, have you seen the Dr. Peter McCullough interviewed by author John Leake? Much love, brother. Keep being a beacon of courage and bravery. Well, thank you for the kind super chat. I have seen the Dr. Peter McCullough interview. I've seen 12 minutes of it, and he's very honorable. I shared it on Twitter. He's a pro-vaccine doctor. He's a pro-vaccine doctor, not an anti-vaxxer, pro-vaxxer, who gave out the COVID vaccine, but he's just talking about the data and what's going on. So he's very brave. And I love his answer, Dr. McCullough. He says, they're like, have you faced any backlash? And his answer was so strong. He's like, no, people going against me face backlash. Like he was like, this is my duty as a doctor. I signed up for this. So he's like, my job is to tell the truth and give my patients the best advice. So, they were trying to scare him. Like, have you faced any backlash? He's like, no, my enemies face backlash. I was like, damn, bars. Dr. McCullough's got bars, he's like, I'm good. He's like this, it felt like real man energy. You know what I'm saying? I was like, finally, because people are looking for someone like a strong leader. I'm like, where are all these men? This is the time to make a stand. I love, he was like, I'm good. They're like, have you faced backlash? He's like, people who go against me face backlash. I'm good. I'm like, Dr. McCullough's got bars. Phil said Anam could be only Jim Jones rapping the diplomats. I mean, shout out to the diplomats, but I do what I can. All right, one more. We got alpha energy. Dr. McCullough's got real alpha energy. I loved it because I'm like, man, everything comes at a cost, but everyone's like, what happens if you do this? It's like, well, I don't know what happens if you do this. It's like life is a bunch of choices and there's always going to be pros and cons to everything. But, I love, real alpha energy from Dr. McCullough. I was like, awesome, finally. Somebody that just does what he's supposed to do and doesn't care. I love it. I loved it. Someone said, I want the holographic Durham cards in line. Yeah, I forget my holographic Durham card joke, but that was a fun time. Good times, good times. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate it. And, it was, what was it, Memorial Weekend? I'm not going to lie. This is like, this is going to sound sad, like I have no life, but this is kind of giving me energy because I'm not going to say low energy, but with my hand like this, I just feel like it restricted. And I know, there's people with worse, like everybody's got issues. I've been injured. I had a spike go through my foot. I couldn't walk for 2 months. And it gets kind of depressing when that first happens and, you're not used to it. So I'm not going to say I've been depressed because I'm not really, I like to stay positive, but with my hand, it's been so annoying. I'm eating dinner and things are falling because I'm lefty and I'm using my right hand and everything's been super hard. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but I'll stay for a few minutes because I actually have some energy. I'm moving and I'm exercising where I was working out. I was crushing basketball. I can't play basketball. I can't play tennis. I can't lift weights. Everything that I love doing, I've been restricted and it's summer and I'm kind of bummed, but could always be worse. So I don't want to become a crybaby, but I'm just like, I'm having a good time being here and it's pretty bummer. T-Chill Cody said, God, he's got the cap, so he's yelling at me. Let's see. God doesn't speak to you within a book made by man. The All Father speaks to you within you, not a book, no language, no words, no written literature. Well, thank you for the chat. I will say, I do think it's, I think there's obviously good words and good passages to live by, but I do think it is a spirit, I could read, it's called, what is it? Like, I forget the word for it. You could read a book, but do you soak up the knowledge? So it's one thing to read, but it's another thing to be. So I could feel you a little bit on that one. Someone said the $100 super chat guy is a beacon. Yeah, he's for sure a beacon. It's a very nice, very generous thing. Thank you, Elsewhere Bear, for the blessing. I got to figure out what to do on Facebook because Facebook, I've been going on Instagram live and it's been so laggy. Like I'm getting comments 2 minutes after. Facebook, my whole app doesn't even work now. I could live stream, but for some reason, Facebook did an update with the Facebook and Instagram and they tried to merge them and it's been so glitchy. So I'm glad I'm live. Thank you for being here, Facebook. I see some of the super chats, but I'm sorry I can't get to everything because the whole app is kind of glitching for me. Facebook and YouTube has changed how they do live streaming. I don't know what they're doing. It seems the same to me, but I don't know. Someone said, problem is a lot of people worship the Bible as if it's God. It's an interesting conversation. I guess like you guys are trying to make the point that you have to live it and not just read it. I think there's some truth to that. I mean, I do think reading is good and learning is good, but yeah, it reminds me of like, there's like a self-help books and stuff where it's like, I could read 1,000 Jordan Peterson like self-help books, but the real step, it's supposed to inspire you to then go do something. So, I mean, everybody's flawed, everybody sins, nobody's perfect, but I do think there's something to be said, whether it's the Bible or, any book that you read of like, not just reading it, but then living it and implementing it. I mean, it's tough obviously with religion, but like, I think it's something that some people struggle with more than others, but, reading versus then like putting it in, but everybody's got to start somewhere. So I try not to judge. Brett said, come visit East Texas, broski, Athens, Texas, go kayaking, four-wheeling, hiking, maybe a free game of pool, very free down here. God bless, dude. Thank you. I'll check it out. East Texas. I'm trying to think east. That way. All right. Someone said, any teeth, any DeSantis efforts to stop censorship of Floridians? I'm not sure what the comment meant. Someone said, although I supported most of Trump's policies, I wonder why he did not pardon Snowden. I mean, there's a lot of speculation with Snowden and Assange. A lot of people have their thoughts about them. I mean, I think they're both very interesting people, clearly. I think Snowden gets to do a lot of podcasts and he's an interesting guy, but a lot of people think they're the real deal. A lot of people think they're like liars. I don't know. I feel like it's a controversial thing, but with Trump, yeah, the people he surrounded himself with, like they didn't like Snowden. Like Trump, I'm not going to say he lied, but Trump has never liked whistleblowers. Trump never liked Snowden or Assange. He always thought whistleblowers were traitors. I don't want to speak for Trump, but if you look at some of his old tweets and stuff, he never was like, oh man, this guy's a patriot. He tended to not like whistleblowers. So I think that Trump used Assange to win the election. Like WikiLeaks. He never liked Assange. He liked the information in WikiLeaks because it made his opponent look bad. So I don't think he ever appreciated or cared about Julian Assange or WikiLeaks. So I think, as soon as he won, he went from WikiLeaks to I don't know WikiLeaks. And in a way, I think that's what kind of hurt Trump in the end is like Steve Bannon helped Trump win the election. You might not like Steve Bannon. I think he helped Trump not just with Cambridge Analytica and the analytics, but I think Steve Bannon has an effective campaign idea of what to say. He's a smart guy. I don't know if it's a coincidence that after Trump kicked Bannon to the curb, I don't know that was the right decision. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But point I'm getting to, at a certain point, I don't think Trump ever cared about Snowden and Assange at all. I don't think he likes whistleblowers, but I do think that, as a leader, if you let your biggest supporters, your best campaign advisors, your biggest influencers, your biggest YouTubers, all perish and you mock half of them or just ignore half of them, kind of like the Capitol event. I think it was poor leadership, but I don't blame Trump for an insurrection, but he is a leader and a lot of people got in trouble for following him thinking he was going to pull off some hat trick and he doesn't seem to care about it at all. So I think that's like a thing that he does where it's like, I feel like people will put their lives on the line for Trump. And I just don't know if he ever really cared that much. And, I think Cernovich has said that a lot, but why did Trump not pardon Snowden? He never liked whistleblowers that much, I think, so a lot of people might have wanted Snowden to get pardoned, but I don't think Trump really cares about those type of people. And you have the right. Some people think that, they're patriots. Some people think that Snowden's a patriot. Some people think he's a traitor. They think that him doing that was like a traitorous act. I don't know that I think it's traitorous, but that's kind of, how some people think about it. Someone said, I heard a rumor that Julian Assange is his. Everybody's got a rumor. Some people think, Snowden's the real deal. Some people think he's a setup. Some people think Assange is the real deal. Some people think he's hiding. He's here. I can't really tell you about this stuff. I'm kind of indifferent about it because I I don't know these people. I don't know where they are, what they're doing. I mean, I obviously hear the reports of Snowden. He's all over the place. I hear what's going on with Assange. But as far as my opinion on them, I mean, I have an opinion of what I think. But when other people say, well, I heard this, I don't know. I just don't, you know. Censor Thief says he's speaking in code, bro. There is no code. I'm not speaking in code. There's no fortune cookie code. I'm saying what I mean, and I mean what I say. There's no code. It's just like what I say is exactly what I mean. There's no hidden secret for you. It's not a fortune cookie Q decoder message board. In August, Trump's going to return through the Nikola Tesla time. That's not what we're doing here, bro. What I say is what I mean. If I know something or I don't know something, I just say it. It's not a big deal. At the end of the day, it's just my perspective. It's not the word. It's not the be all end all. Feel free to disagree with any part of this. It's fine. Someone said, I mean, it shows you have good memory, I guess, elsewhere. And someone said, I've been writing down every third word for a seat. Yeah, that's not going to work. All right, let's end on a good comment. Someone said DeSantis signed a bill against social media deplatforming and censorship. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it looks like he's rolling the ball, which is a step up. You know, he definitely seems like he's doing more than the next one. Someone said, gotcha, bro. God bless you, Censor. Appreciate you. All right, let's end on a good note. Give me one good end. Thank you, West Side Bear. I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliments on the video. All right, we'll just take off. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Thank you to everybody who watched the music video or streams it. You don't have to, but you know, I put the video out. I'm excited because now I could work on finishing my book, but it's going to be tough to type. I have to type like this or with my opposite hand. So I'm probably going to try to finish the book this next month, even though my hand's messed up. I'm so close, and I really am passionate about it. I think the theme of it is really strong because it's outside of politics. It's really all language. And like, you know, when people say this and that, there's certain words that I feel like just close off the conversation. It's a dual party affair. So I'm pretty pumped. The book is very close. So I'm gonna spend a week trying to do that. Thank you guys for being patient and stuff. Everybody on Patreon, I appreciate you. Everybody on Facebook supporters, thank you. Not only, I mean, I'm not trying to play victim, but not only is my thumb broken, so you can imagine how hard it is to use a computer with my dominant hand being pretty much out of use, but I have like 500 emails. I'm trying to figure out a better process of doing this, but I have so many emails, so many things to do that, you know, I always get caught up. So I just appreciate people's patience, because on Patreon, at least once a month, I answer all the messages. That's the perk there, because I have a lot of people who give me, you know, a donation or whatever it's called to, you know, support whatever I'm doing. So I try to answer every message on Patreon, and I do. But thank you for the patience. We do a live stream every month on Facebook. I'm going to try to do 2 this month, like I promised. I think we could pull it off, because one month I got screwed up with the NPR smear article, half, you know, censor. I think they closed my monetization for like a week or something. It was very strange. And then I fought back against NPR, like in a video, and then they turned my monetization on. I don't know if it was related to that or it was just a week ban, but thank you for your patience. Thank you for supporting. And, you know, I'll keep working hard. I'll keep doing stuff. And I try to always work hard. But I do have to say, I'm probably going to do more live streams than videos, because live stream is a little easier. Videos, I mean, I did my music video, but to me, editing is just kind of very difficult. So I'll probably do more live streams this next month or so. And some cool things in the works too. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we are doing new shirts. I think I'm going to bring back the God is Great. I cut the sleeves off because I like to work out, but God is Great. I think I'm going to bring back these shirts. I'm going to get stickers. They're not out yet, but if you get 2 hats or 2 shirts or a hat and a shirt, 2 of anything, we're going to throw in a free sticker or free stickers. And apparently they're going to be very high quality stickers. So just for fun, I'm working on other stuff, but I want to make sure everything's made in the USA. So I'm looking at coffee mugs, all this sort of stuff. I just want to make sure they're good. I don't want to sell a trash product. Like when people buy this hat, you see the American flag on it. everybody tells me, they're like, that's actually a good hat. Like, this is not a trashy hat. I've been wearing it for a month. I keep it white, but it's just like sturdy. I have trashy hats I bought from like, festivals and stuff. Like, this thing is like pretty solid. So I try not to, if I can, not sell a trash product, and I try to make it made in the USA. These are made in the USA. So that's why I don't rush with other stuff, but you get it. One last thing before I leave, usaproductsonly.com is a website I created with my two friends. It's like a farmer's market for USA made businesses. It's called USA Products Only. We just added 6 or 7 or 8 new small businesses, woodworkers, people who make cool products. So if you want to go there, check it out. If you need something for the house, I mean, just glance at it if you want to before you go to Amazon. I know it's convenient on Amazon and I use it as well, but we do have some cool small businesses there. So it's in the beginning processes, but every couple of weeks we add more and more and more, and it's slow because I'm doing 50 things, but we're eventually going to try to have thousands upon tens of thousands of small businesses there. And it's just a database. I don't own the products. I'm not liable for them. I just look for good things that I think seem legit. They make sales. I can trace it to some extent. And then when you click on it, it leads you to their website. So do your own research. If you like the woodworking or whatever, you could call them, you could email them, do the research the same way you do it if you were on Amazon. I do it as well. If I'm ordering something, I don't just pick anything. I try to see, does it have reviews? Does it look like it's 5 stars or 4.5 stars? Can I trace that I'm actually going to get this product? And that's what I do for USA Products Only. I can't guarantee it, but I spend hours. I probably spent 10 hours going through the businesses, making sure they have a page where I can see they made sales. There's pictures, maybe they have an Etsy account with 10,000 sales. So I know they make sales. So I take my time and I try to only add the businesses that have really proven that they made sales. Check it yourself because I'm not liable, but I'm just saying I'm not just adding everything. I'm taking a long time going through thousands of emails, trying to pick out what seemed like to me the most credible USA made businesses. There's woodworking, there's shoes, there's toothbrushes, there's some food, there's all sorts of stuff. Filter through it on your own. You're liable the same way as if you order something from Amazon or whatever. But, I think I did a good job of picking out, and it's some pretty cool stuff. Every time I take time to do it, I always think to myself, I'm like, dude, it's inspiring to me too. Cause like, obviously I'm doing my thing but I love seeing a business that I never thought about, someone crushing it. He's selling all this stuff. And I see I'm like, man, I got so many people that watch my channel that are actually like made their dream come true, made their business come true. And hopefully we could, build together. But it's really inspiring to see so much cool stuff. Like some of the woodworkers on usaproductsonly.com, like they're making some really cool stuff, like just designing it out of wood. That might be one of my favorite sections, the woodworking, steelworking thing, but you can see it for yourself. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day. The hats are at dreamrare.com or godblesshats.com. With the shirts, there's going to be more within a couple weeks. The usaproductsonly.com, it's 100% of the profits go to the store. I take nothing. I'm just a vehicle to get there. So check that out. And that's what it is. My song, Way Too Jacked for the Gulag, is out now. Someone said, take care of your finger. I'm trying. I just don't know how to tie it up. I hope I don't permanently damage it. It should be fine, but it's very annoying. It's all good. God bless you guys. I appreciate it. I'll be back with a live stream or some new videos this week. Got a lot of work cut out for me. Take care.